and I am recording this, and I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you. Okay, and that's the topic this evening. What are suit preference signals and how to, when you should use them? So the normal signals that you'll come across in bridge, the one that comes up again and again when you're a defender, are not suit preference signals, but attitude signals. So when your partner leads a suit, you often give a high signal, high card to encourage, a low to discourage. That's called standard signals. There are many other forms of signals. And the same when you're discarding. The most common signal by far is the attitude signal. But there are some situations where it should be clear to both opponents that it's pointless to try to give an attitude signal. And in those cases, you can sometimes give a suit preference signal. And for those of you who are watching my video on YouTube afterwards, if you wish to join in these lessons, you can send an email to that address on the screen, and I'll add you to my weekly distribution list. So we're going to look at different signals here, including suit preference signals. But to start with, let's have a look at this hand here, where there's been some exciting bidding. South opened with a weak 2 hearts, your partner bid 2 spades, North bid 4 hearts, and you bid 4 spades. And then it went round and North now bid 5 hearts. And you might have been thinking of bidding 5 spades or doubling, but you pass, and that's the final contract, 5 hearts. And your partner is on lead, and they lead the king of spades. And down comes dummy, and you need to think about where your possible tricks are coming from. But the question for you, which is the first poll of the evening, is what are you going to play on the first spade? Your partner's led the king, which is presumably top of the sequence, and dummy's going to declare going to play the 8 of spades from dummy. And which spade do you think you should play as east? So that's the first question. And here comes that first poll. What should you play at trick 1?
Well, that's fine. That's okay. मैं निकाल देता हूँ उसको.
Yeah, if you have any background noise, don't unmute yourselves, please. Okay, let's have a look at the results. And most of you have played a low spade, with 28% playing the ace. So if we switch back and have a look at this, well, it should be obvious to you and your partner that you're only ever going to make one spade trick here because there's a singleton in dummy. And the only other place you can make tricks here is likely to be the clubs. You've got at least one club trick there, but your best chance to make an additional trick in clubs is if your partner retains the lead and is able to lead through the king of clubs. So it's definitely a mistake on this one to play the ace, because although you'll be able to then cash your ace of clubs, that will be it. You'll have set up the king. So much better is to play low here. And if I bring up the 4 hands, your partner, upon winning the first trick, can see the same dummy as you've been looking at and must realize that with that strong diamond suit, the only real chance to make more tricks is now in clubs, and they should lead a club. And with this particular layout, it's much better if they lead the queen of clubs. If they were to lead a low club, then you wouldn't really be certain what to play. So if they lead the queen of clubs, that clears up the problem for you. And now if declarer plays low from dummy, you can let your partner's queen win this trick. You might play a highish club to encourage your partner, high to encourage, but they'll play another club and you'll take another club trick there. After that, whatever happens, Declare is going to get in and make the rest, but at least you'll defeat it by one trick there. So really, that was a situation that wasn't particular, didn't really call for any signaling for you. Your partner should have been able to work out what's going on just as you could see dummy, and you let them retain the lead so they can continue with clubs. Let's have a look at another one here. And this was the one I think I sent out at the weekend. North opens 1 no trump. That's a weak no trump, 12 to 14. And South jumps to 4 hearts. So for whatever reason, they're not playing transfers here. They just bid 4 hearts. And I hope you can see you've got a pretty good opening lead here of the ace of spades. Anytime you have a doubleton ace king against a suit contract, it's always well worth thinking about leading the ace because you're hoping to get a signal from your partner and see whether you want to continue with that suit. So you lead the ace of spades, down comes dummy, and your partner plays the 6 and declarer plays the 7. And I've got the second poll for you, which is what do you make of that 6 of spades? Do you think it's probably high to encourage or low to discourage, or can't you tell? So have a think about it. Look at the how the spades are distributed, and what do you think that 6 of spades means? And it's fairly evenly divided, but 47% have said high, 33% low, and 20% have said they can't tell. And this isn't certain, but a tip here is to think about the missing spades and think about whether there are any spades lower than the 6 that are unaccounted for. So you can see the 3, 4, 5, but you can't see the 2. So someone has the 2 of spades and hasn't played it. And if it's your partner, they were probably giving you an encouraging signal. It could also be that declarer had the 2 and is deliberately throwing the 7 to try to confuse you. And that's a perfectly legitimate tactic for declarer. It's called false carding. Although in practice, not that many declarers do false card. So if you don't think declare is false carding, it probably means they don't have the 2, probably means that East has the 2. And I think it's more likely than not that that is an encouraging signal. So if you think it's encouraging, you might carry on with the king. And yes, your partner plays the 2. So you know they definitely were encouraging. And the only reason they would encourage here would be if they had an honor like the queen, but you can see that in dummy, or a doubleton. So it's definitely the case that they were encouraging because they had a doubleton spade. Now, what are we going to play now? Well, we're going to play another spade for my partner to rough. If you think about it, that's 8 spades have gone. I've got 9, 10, 11, 12. So South has still got a spade. So my partner will definitely be able to rough this when I lead another spade. Now, when I do lead a spade, it doesn't matter which spade I lead, the 5, the 4, or the 3. Declare my partner will rough all of those, assuming they have a trump. But the card I play in this situation can be used as a suit preference signal. So in other words, I'm going to lead a spade and for my partner to rough. And by the size of the card that I play, I'm going to indicate whether I would be interested in what suit I would be interested in having returned to me after the rough. And the suit you really would be like to have returned to you here is a club. not really a heart, not really a trump, because and not a diamond because you have no strength in that suit. But a club, if your partner leads a club, it may set up your king of clubs. So the way it works is because you want the lowest suit returned to you, you lead the lowest spade you have, the three here. Your partner ruffs as expected, and he should now return a club. If I bring up the four hands, we'll see that at this point, he may well return a club anyway, even if he wasn't paying attention to your signal. But by leading a club, it gives you a chance to make a trick with your king now. Now, declarer may not try the finesse, they may go up with the ace. And in fact, declarer's best play here is actually not to draw trumps, but to try to cash the diamonds so that he can discard a club. But if he does make the mistake of drawing trumps, you can get in and you'll be able to now to cash a club. And played that way, you've actually made five tricks now. Declarer will win, can now claim the rest, but would be down two. So that was an important signal you gave your partner because you, by playing a low spade for them to ruff, you're indicating an interest in the lower ranking suit. So the way it works is you ignore the suit that you're leading and you ignore the trump suit. So you ignore spades and you ignore hearts. And then the signal is a signal between the other two suits. If I change the west hand slightly so that I give myself the king of diamonds instead of the king of clubs, then this is how it will go. I'll play the ace of spades as before, but now I want to give a clue to my partner that I may have an entry in diamonds. So I'm going to play the five of spades for my partner to ruff. And if my partner correctly interprets the five as a highish card, he should work out, if he's paying attention, that I had cards lower than that. He can now return a diamond. And even though declarer's got the ace here, I will be able to get in and cash my king of diamonds here before he has a chance to, possibly before he has a chance to discard his loser. So he might try the clubs here, but it turns out if he now plays a heart, he lets me in and I can cash my diamond and again hold him to 8 tricks there. So the way it works in this situation with suit preference signals, and they are used in other situations, but this is a common one. When leading a suit for your partner to ruff, the card you lead may be an indication of the suit you would like to have your partner return to you. So in this situation here, when I'm about to lead a spade for my partner to ruff, if I lead the 5, a highish card, it indicates a possible entry in the higher ranking suit, diamonds. But if I lead the 3, my lowest card, it indicates I may have an entry in the lower suit, the clubs there. So that's a common use of suit preference signals that you will come across, and it can be very valuable if you and your partner are on the same wavelength. Of course, signals are a particularly difficult aspect of defense, I always find, because you have to give the right signal and your partner has to be on the ball and interpret it. So there are 2 chances to go wrong, if you like. Let's try another one. Let's try this one. And this is another example of a suit preference signal in a slightly different context. The bidding here has gone 1 heart. Your partner overcalled 2 clubs. North bid 4 hearts, and you passed that. And your partner here leads the king of clubs. And you can see immediately that you're only ever going to make 1 club trick here because there's a singleton in dummy. But what would you like to happen on this hand? Well, you'd like your partner to win this trick. And then the suit you'd like them to play is spades because you've got the king of spades trapped in dummy. So in this situation, it's another chance for you to give a suit preference signal. And what you do on the king is you let your partner win this, but you play the nine of clubs. Now, it cannot really be that the nine of clubs is an encouraging card. Your partner can see there's a void in dummy and there's no real point continuing in clubs. It couldn't be that it was an encouraging signal. So instead, it's used as a suit preference signal. And again, a high card there should indicate an interest in the higher ranking suit. Once again, ignore the trump suit, heart, and ignore clubs here. The signal here is the nine of clubs, a highish card. Your partners will almost certainly notice that. And what you want them is to switch to a spade and to hopefully trap the king in dummy. And if I bring up the four hands, if your partner does switch to a spade, the right spade to play there is the jack. That successfully traps the king. And now your partner continues spades, and you're able to take three spade tricks to defeat the contract. After that, I think whatever you play, Declare is going to get in, and we'll just draw trumps. And once all the other cards have gone, they'll claim the rest. But you'll be able to defeat the contract because you were able to make one club and three spades before they had a chance to discard any of the spade losers. If you don't defend that way, Declarer may have a chance to play 3 rounds of diamonds and discard at least one of the spade losers there. Let's have a look at this hand from your partner's viewpoint. Your partner's hand is the same, and you start off with the king of clubs. This time, though, your partner plays the 5, lets you win the trick with the king of clubs. And I've got the next poll for you, and it's got 2 questions. The first one is, who do you think has the ace of clubs? And what should you lead at trick 2? So the first part is, who do you think's got the ace of clubs here? And which suit are you going to play at trick 2? And for the first part, 70% of you have said east, the others saying can't tell or south. And then it's fairly evenly divided between a spade or a diamond, with some of you continuing with a club. Well, let's see if we can work out what's going on here. For the first part, who has the ace of clubs? If South had the ace of clubs and let you win the king when they had a singleton in dummy, they are doing something really bad, really bizarre. So it's almost inconceivable that South had the ace of clubs and let you win this trick. Much more likely that your partner has the ace of clubs and didn't play it because they were happy with you to retain the lead. And instead, the club they played was a suit preference signal. So it should be clear to you at this point that your partner had the ace, didn't play it, and instead they played a club to give you a clue as to which suit to lead. Now you have to try to determine whether that 5 of clubs is high or low. So let's see if we can figure it out. We can account for the 2, 3, the 4 is missing, and then also the cards higher than the 6, the 7, 8, 9 are missing. So this one is a little harder to work out whether that is definitely high or low, but I think it's probably low. The reason is the other card that is unaccounted for lower than the 5 is the 4, and it could well be that Declarer has that. If Declarer, if declarer had, the 3 and the 4, they might have played the 3, and they may still be left with the 4. So in that case, the 5 of clubs is your partner's lowest club, and that should indicate an interest in the lower ranking of the other two suits. So not clubs, not hearts, but it's between spades and diamonds. And based on that, you should switch to a diamond if your partner has an interest in that suit. So you would switch to the Jack of Diamonds here. And if you play that and it holds a trick, it's presumably because the layout is something like this. So you can now carry on in diamonds. Your partner can take the queen and can again defeat the contract by taking 4 tricks there. So after that, whatever happens, declarer is going to gain the lead. We'll draw the remaining trump, and we'll be able to claim at some point, but we'll be held to 9 tricks there. So that was a case where your partner East here wanted you to switch to a diamond, and they played the lowest club they had, the 5, to indicate a possible interest in the lower ranking suit. Any comments or questions on that? It's quite tricky, as I saw. For not all of you got that. Let's try this one. And here it's gone 1 heart, 1 no trump, 3 hearts, 4 hearts. You're on lead here. And as usual, a good lead when you've got something like ace king against a suit contract is to lead the ace. So you lead the ace, and your partner plays the 10, which definitely looks like a high card. So you carry on with the king, and this time your partner plays the 9. So they were giving an encouraging signal by playing the 10 and then the 9. And I've got the next poll for you, which is what are you going to play at trick 3? So have a think of about the specific card you're going to lead now. And here comes the next poll. What do you think Wes should play at trick 3? Have a look at the results. And most of you have gone for the 8 of spades, 58%, with 27% going for a low spade, as well as going for another suit. So let's switch back and see if we can work out what we want to happen here. Well, it's worth thinking about the spade situation. We've played 2 rounds, and it looks like my partner was encouraging, so they must have had a doubleton. There's no other reason to encourage. So if you count the spades, that's 8 have gone. I've got 9, 10, 11 in dummy. Declarer's still got 2 spades. So my partner will definitely be able to ruff. What we want to happen here when we give them the ruff is that they lead back a diamond. We really want a diamond back. Maybe we'll be able to give them another ruff, because although there are trumps in dummy, they're not very high. So yes, I'm going to lead back a spade. And because I've got an entry here in diamonds, the higher ranking between clubs and diamonds, I'm going to lead the 8. If I lead the 2, it indicates a possible interest in clubs. So the right card to play here is the 8. Your partner ruffs, and if he gets the message, he will lead back a diamond. And you gain the lead, and you're going to now lead your last spade. And although it can be ruffed in dummy here, your partner has a higher trump than declarer can ruff with. So if they do ruff with the 5, your partner can over ruff, and you can make 5 tricks there. After that, whatever you play, declarer is going to gain the lead, and will draw trumps, but will be defeated despite having that magnificent heart suit there, losing a diamond, 2 spades, and 2 ruffs. Okay, so do try and play the right card in that situation. If your partner without that signal, your partner, after they ruffed, almost certainly would return to club there, and that gives declarer um, a chance to avoid that second ruff. Let's finally have a look at another hand and see if you can tell me how you think you would defend here. It's gone 2 hearts, 2 spades by your partner, 4 hearts, and your partner leads the king of spades, and down comes dummy. You see that amazing club suit there. And I've got the final poll of the evening. What should East play here? The ace, the 8, or the 3? Have a look at the results. So let's see. The most popular response is the 8, with 35% going for the ace and 23% going for the 3 of spades. So let's have a look at this. Well, let's see. What strikes you as in dummy here is that long club suit, and obviously if declarer gets a chance, he's going to draw trumps and rattle off all those clubs. Your only chance here is to make one spade trick. You're not going to make any more than one because of the singleton in dummy. And the only other suit where you're likely to make tricks, unless your partner happens to have a high trump, very unlikely, is in diamonds. And it's going to be much better if you lead diamonds than if you leave your partner on lead. So the best way to play here is not to give a signal at all, but to overtake the king with the ace so that you can lead a diamond. And it will help in situations like this, where you're leading a diamond through any honors that are in the south hand. And I hope you can see that if you'd left your partner on lead with the king of spades, they could not attack diamonds without setting up the king of diamonds here. So by far the best play here is for you to win that one. And then, of course, you'll switch to diamonds. And on a layout like this, it will help to trap any honors that declarer has there. So when your jack wins, you'll continue playing that, but the defense will be able to make third diamond to defeat the contract. After that, declarer will get the lead, draw trumps, and will obviously be able to make all the rest of the tricks, but will be held to down one if you don't defend that way. I hope you can see that if you don't find that defense, declarer will easily make 4 hearts because they've got 6 hearts, and they're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 clubs. So they'll make 12 tricks there unless you find the right defense, which is overtaking, so you can switch. So this is a case not to be signaling. You don't want your partner to lead diamonds. You want to lead so that you have a diamond holding, which possibly would be better if you led it than if you lead your partner on lead. Anyone have any questions on that? So that was it. I'll stop sharing my screen there, and I hope you enjoyed that lesson. We've got the game starting at in 10 minutes, and as usual, there will be a few hands giving you a chance to try out suit preference signals if you join that game. If you need a partner, just join the game and sit at a table and call me over. But otherwise, I'll say goodbye to the rest of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Online later on. Thank you all very much.